Good afternoon and good morning. This is James Loy of Loyalty360, welcoming you to our ongoing Thought Leadership and Loyalty series. Today we have Patrick Reynolds, Head of Marketing for SessionM, which helps clients build loyalty through advanced automation and integration that drives personalization and engagement across numerous channels. Patrick is here to talk about being a disruptor in the loyalty space, some of the biggest challenges facing brands today, and more. Hello, Patrick.
Good morning. How are you, James?
I'm good. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today and joining our Thought Leadership and Loyalty series. To begin, can we get your perspective on, well, how do most brands and marketers view customer loyalty today? And how does SessionM's perspective maybe differ from that more traditional approach?
Well, I think, there's a long history in the loyalty space about marketers and brands thinking about loyalty as a means by which customers would demonstrate their sort of fealty, if you will, to a brand. So show me a punch card that has, 4 purchases and maybe you get the 5th one for free. It was basically a mechanism by which you could sort of check up on how intensely loyal the customer was. And I think, there were good reasons for that. It was sort of a mindset that was pervasive up until, not too long ago. But now what we're seeing is that really, in many respects, and it's largely enabled by technology, the camera is being turned around, where loyalty programs are really a means by which a business and a marketer has to demonstrate his or her loyalty and fealty to a particular customer. So if I'm a really good customer of any particular brand, I want that brand to demonstrate to me that they, 1, understand that I'm a good customer, and 2, that they really value me, because if they don't, then I have alternatives both online and in the physical world.
And we often talk a lot about disruption. What does disruption mean in the loyalty space today? And how can being a disruptor in the loyalty space maybe help brands enhance engagement and or win more loyalty?
Well, I think what disruption means in this context is actually enabling brands to demonstrate their loyalty to customers and vice versa. But it really is sort of an olive branch that's technologically enabled that we're giving marketers that they can extend to their customers. So we're allowing them to prove, usually in real time, that they are aware of what the customer is doing with the brand right at that exact moment, whether they've tripped a beacon and they've entered a store, whether they're browsing online, whether they're in an app. So the marketer can know that in real time, and then based on having a pretty technologically sophisticated rules engine, they can act in that moment with the best offer that not only contemplates what that customer is doing and where the customer is, it also factors what they've done historically. All the transactions that led up to this, or all the, not just transactions, but all the interactions, all the engagements that led up to this one. So when you give that kind of a robust tool to a savvy marketer, it allows them to really sing in front of the customer.
Okay, great. And what do you see as some of the biggest challenges and or opportunities for brands and marketers today? And how can they hope to overcome these challenges to seize these opportunities?
I think the challenge and the opportunity is largely the same, and that is there are just so many ways to create data. So it's sort of a binary issue. On one hand, there's never been more data collected and captured and generated than before. So you have things like cookie data, you have things like in-app behavioral data, you have things like beacons, you have things like social, you have things like connected registers. There's all of these ways by which customers are constantly kind of creating data. So there's no lack of data being generated by the customer. In most sophisticated marketing stacks, there's no lack of data being captured. Where there is a disconnect is able to act on that data in a reasonable time frame. If it's not real time, it should be near real time. So there's no sense understanding that the horse has left the barn 3 days after the horse has left the barn. If the barn door is open, you need to act on that at that moment, right? So the challenge is on a data side. It's ingesting and organizing and making actionable huge quantities of data in real time or near real time. That's the first challenge. And it's the opportunity, because you do have so much data, you can be very, very intelligent about how you message and how you interact with your customer. On the other side, related to that, is there's so many different ways that you can communicate and engage with the customer now, both physical and digital, that prioritizing and knowing what is the right tool for the right job can often be overwhelming. And that brings us back to the real opportunity, is by thinking about these things before they happen, not having to suss out the situation and decide in the moment, but having a rule set that allows you to act by rule at exactly the right time that you want to, is making that organization and that thought process and that decision tree much straighter and simpler.
And finally, last question, from your perspective, what do you see as the future of customer loyalty?
Well, I think there's going to be a couple of things that are going to be very, very big. So as mobile not only proliferates, it actually evolves and morphs somewhat into the Internet of Things, which is not exactly the same concept, but they're related, where you have both more and more things that are generating data, like we just discussed. You could have, your television that's generating data on your behalf. You could have everything, your car, through through telematics. There's just a lot of different things that are going to be all wired into one sort of mesh on the customer. So there's going to be a lot more data being generated and collected and processed. So I think that's exciting, and it also exacerbates the challenge that some marketers have, but it also provides the opportunity to do things that that are heretofore not really in the realm of marketing. I think they're getting ready to be in the realm of marketing, which is an exciting opportunity. Related to that, again, you have sort of artificial intelligence and machine learning, and doing things that not only sort of follow the customer, but lead the customer by rule. Based off of, again, very sophisticated algorithmic learning, you can say, well, if the customer is here, is doing this and has done that, therefore the next right decision, the next best offer, the next right move, the next piece of content we should serve is X, Y, or Z. So I think the rise of the Internet of Things and big data sets, coupled with artificial intelligence, machine learning, algorithmic learning, is going to make for a really interesting way. There's been a lot of great information about bots recently too. So that idea that being able to answer in the moment through algorithms and through artificial intelligence and through machine learning is really interesting, and going to be probably the future of where things go.
All right, fantastic. Well, Patrick, thank you so much for your time and for your insights today.
It's always been a pleasure working with you guys. Have a great day.
To see more videos on our ongoing Thought Leadership and Loyalty series, visit loyalty360.org.